Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to another segment of the Soundstage. Today we have someone all the way from the States, but right now she's from the Philippines, but she's studying right now in the States. So she's back home right now and beginning her musical journey with taking musical theater and dance workshops at the age of 4. Rafi has truly grown a true passion for performing. She started writing her own songs at the age of 13 and is now studying at Berklee College of Music in Boston, Massachusetts, to further pursue her singing career. She has taken on lead roles in multiple plays throughout middle school and high school, was a student and soloist at the Music School of Ryan Kayabyab from 2014 to 2022, and has been given incredible opportunities such as being signed with Star Magic Philippines and being casted as a lead vocalist in Berklee's The Great American Songbook, Alicia Keys' Girl on Fire at MGM Music Hall, Fenway, as well as 40th Singers Showcase Anniversary, Holiday, 4 Decades of Madonna. With all her work, she simply wishes to speak of authenticity to others through her music that comes straight from the heart. Without further ado, everybody, we have Rafi.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for even just accepting this. Actually, before we get into it, I just wanted to say I was just scrolling through TikTok and I think it was... What was it that I saw? I just saw one of your videos and I was like, Carrera.
Oh, yes, my goodness. Yes.
Carrera. Yeah, from Beanie. And then I was like, oh, a Filipino singer. As it should be, right?
Yeah.
So, so I swiped left and looked more into your page and I was like, she has more music. And then I started following, and then later on I started seeing releases of your new song, Unpaid Debt. And that's what we actually want to talk about today, right? But before we get into that, I actually do this with all the artists that I talk to, and it's let's bring it back to your childhood. Let's bring it back to how did music get started for you? Was it something that was always in your life? Are your parents into music, or was this something that you alone picked up?
Mm-hmm. So personally, I would say that the general story of it is that I have been singing ever since I can even remember, or ever since I was even conscious. My dad tells me that the first time I held a tune was when I was like 2 years old, and he was a drummer in college, and he had his own band too. So my dad really loves music. I'm definitely influenced by him as well, and he's very supportive of me pursuing music now. And because of that, when he heard me sing when I was really young, he and my mom both thought that I had a lot of potential in that area because I could sing, or in musical terms, I wasn't sharp or flat according to my dad. And because of that, they put me in musical theater workshops.
Wow.
So that started when I was like, I want to say 5 years old. And I did that for 8 years in a row. Every single summer, I would do musical theater workshops. And it was really fun. And I tried a lot of different things throughout my childhood. I did figure skating, golf, swimming, football, ballet. I did almost everything. But the one thing that really stuck to me was performing. And what's kind of funny is that for the first maybe 2 or 3 years, we didn't know that, or my parents didn't know that I had really bad eyesight. So I was actually performing on stage with very blurry vision, and somehow I pulled it off. And I don't know, it's just like a funny little story. But I did do theater for a very long time growing up. And it was only in high school that I started writing my own music. And that's when I fell in love with songwriting. And it's only now that I'm in college studying music for real that I'm learning about the more technical side, I guess, I guess academic side for now. That's basically it.
Wow. Yeah. So you've come a long way.
Yes,
so
definitely.
you growing up, even before going to school or going to college, you've already acquired that background just through experience. and these workshops that, I guess you were very fortunate to attend as a child. So that's great. So aside from that, when you started singing, when you started performing, were there any inspirations growing up that help you, guide you throughout your singing career, your sound, help you shape your sound? What is, or who is responsible for, I guess, creating your sound?
I think definitely one of the number one inspirations that I have, Ariana Grande. I absolutely adored her since I started watching Victorious, which was a show that kind of made me want to take music even more, or the arts in general. And other than that, I also love Bruno Mars, who is also a Filipino artist.
Yes.
And over time, I also just became more familiar with indie artists, smaller artists that people didn't really know about back then. Now they're pretty big, of course, but I would say now that I've found what I like to write, I am very much inspired by Lizzie McAlpine and Ryan Beatty. And just performing in general, I'm still inspired by Ariana Grande and Bruno Mars and Rule and many other artists. I think definitely it's something that I kind of get influences from everywhere. It's like little tidbits and pieces that just come together to create me. And I'm definitely also still discovering what I really want with my own sound. And that's something that's kind of an ever-changing thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, for sure. As you grow, of course, it will change. Even big artists up to now, they sometimes make a 360 in their sound.
Right.
And it's something that people weren't looking out for. But that's great. That's great. Any inspirations that come from music that your parents listen to?
There are definitely certain songs that are just in my core now, and I feel for example, we'll celebrate Christmas all together or have a family get together, and of course, as a Filipino family, we'll have the karaoke on, and there are definitely go-to songs that I always come back to that my parents taught me, or I guess that I learned from them. Yeah, and there are just I think the number one song that stuck to me is Kailan. I think it's by MYMP.
Oh man.
Yes.
I'll just say yes. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a Tagalog song, and it's one of my favorite songs until now. It just has a very special place in my heart, and it's one of my favorite karaoke songs. So
That's great. Okay. That's cool. That's actually really cool. Moving forward, so we've talked about the inspirations of people or artists that help shape your sound, and you did mention that you were still growing into your own sound and still trying to find trying to find your voice. So I guess that's a great way to segue into what we're talking about now. Your music, right? So your new song, Unpaid Debt, when I first heard it, automatically I just felt it. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I felt it. The words in the song, it's very relatable. It's it's feel good at the same time. I don't know if it was meant to be a sad song masked in a feel good song, because it did kind of hurt, But Unpaid Debt, let's kind of talk about that. What was that about?
Right. So Unpaid Debt was a song that I wrote last year. I think it was late January or February 2023. And it's basically about being in what people nowadays like to call a situationship. So I guess to explain the context of that more, it's kind of when you're in a relationship or a connection with someone where they don't really want to commit to you fully, or just in general, they don't want to commit to you. And it's basically just about unrequited love and what that feels like. And to me, while I was writing the song, I kind of thought about how it felt like this very heavy weight on my shoulders and like a burden that I couldn't get rid of, and it felt like a debt that I could never pay off, and that I felt like I never had the means of paying off. Yes. Because it was like I couldn't remove myself from the situation or walk away from the person because I didn't have enough self-love. Yeah. So it's like literally like not having enough money to pay off a debt. Not having enough self-love to remove yourself from those situations is kind of what it's about.
There you go. That explains a lot. But wow, yeah. I love how you use the I guess the metaphor of money.
Yes, oh my goodness.
Yes.
It was really fun, honestly, writing with that metaphor in mind because you're able to revolve around it, and it's just a really cool creative process.
It is. And it's at the same time it's easier to relate to. You know, it's money. Everyone has seen it in some shape or form. So yeah. What was the what's the inspiration behind it? Like, what was there someone that like, was it personal, you know, or was it just something that you're like, oh, a lot of people go through this, or, you know, let's talk about that.
So I'm actually coming out with an EP. This is the single of the EP that I'm coming out with. It's going to be out on July 19th. So literally in like 2 weeks from when we're doing this interview. And this EP is basically all about the time in my life where I felt like I didn't really know my sense of self yet, or I didn't have a sense of self that was strong enough yet. And it's basically from the point of view of me, or at least a girl in general, or a person in general that didn't really have enough self-love. And it is based on very true real-life experiences that I've gone through. But definitely when writing songs, sometimes it's possible to just make stuff up. But most of them are very much true to me. And actually, all of it is very much true to myself and what I was feeling during that time. And I think that's what's beautiful about music, too. It reflects who you were at that point in time. And even though I wrote these songs a year ago, or one of the songs on the EP I actually wrote 2 years ago, they're only being released now. And I don't necessarily feel like I'm the same person that I once was when I wrote them, but they're still beautiful pieces of art that I can share with the world and help other people feel less alone and connect with.
Oh, that's good. Oh man, I love it. Yeah. So at the end of the interview, we usually ask the artist, we're gonna ask Rafi here to sing a little bit of her song, and before we do get to that, usually I would ask you, you know, is there anyone that you want to shout out before you get into that?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to give a big shout out to, first of all, my producer and co-writer in this single and in the EP in general. His name is Amir Coro. He's also a Filipino artist, so you should go support him.
I feel like I've seen him on TikTok.
Oh, you probably have. He's a YouTuber as well. He's
there, really... YouTube. I think YouTube is what it was.
He makes amazing YouTube videos, so you should definitely check him out.
Was he the one that he learned Tagalog?
Yes.
I think I just saw that recently.
That is exactly who he is.
Yes. Okay. I saw it and I was like, this guy looks familiar.
Yeah, so he's one of my best friends, and it just so happens that he produced the EP and co-wrote the songs with me. So definitely a very important person in terms of this project. And of course, I would like to give a shout out to my parents who have supported me through all of this, my brothers and all the rest of my family and friends, and of course my Star Magic team for helping me out as well.
Wow, that's great. It's cool that you have a big team behind you, even though it's you who, you're the face. But a lot of people don't realize that in this industry, it takes a team. It takes, it's great if you could do it on your own, but honestly, it takes a team. I don't know. It's kind of weird because lately I've been talking to other people where realizations of bringing a whole village, to make something happen, and this is no stranger to it, right? It's something that requires a group, even if it's not a big group, but it's one of those things that you probably can't do alone, and That's what the world's about, man. But yeah.
So true.
Right? Yeah. So I know you said you're in the Philippines right now for
Yes, I am.
Some short vacation, I'm guessing, because the semester's over. But like, what's it like living in New York? Or where? Massachusetts? Boston,
Yes.
Massachusetts.
Yep.
I don't know why I thought New York. Maybe because music.
Right.
But yeah, Boston, Massachusetts. Yeah, what's it like living there and being a student? Do you miss home a lot, or is there family there for you?
So I'm actually living there alone. Well, we're with a roommate, of course, but none of my family came with me, and I really just moved there on my own. But honestly, for me, I was so mentally prepared and so excited to take on this whole journey of like pursuing my dream of being a singer. So it wasn't difficult for me to adjust to the environment and to be living there. Of course, there are moments where I really do miss home. Nothing will ever replace being with your family and just being where you grew up. But definitely I felt like it was time for that chapter in my life where I get to, pursue my dreams and explore new things and discover a lot more about myself and the world in general. Yeah, and I love Boston so much. It has become like my home as well. I've found friends that I resonate with on a different level, especially being in a community where everybody's so talented and just as passionate about music. You're surrounded by musicians. It's very inspiring, and it can get difficult, especially for some people when you enter and you get these feelings of like anxiety or like, what do you call it? Imposter syndrome.
Yes.
You get imposter syndrome because, again, like these people are so talented and you kind of start comparing yourself to them. But I think after some time you realize that everybody's kind of on the same page. We're all just trying to make music and pursue the same kinds of things. So, yeah, it's really great. Nice. I love it there so much and I miss it.
Don't worry, you'll be back soon. You'll be back soon. Okay, so we're talking more about music again. Another question I wanted to ask is just, as you continue this career in music, as your fan base grows, I'm sure some things may change in your songwriting process. And as of now, I'm sure you're writing for yourself. You want to tell your story. But I've asked this question to other artists too, because I just love seeing their insights where as you grow and your fan base grows, will you ever make the change to write for them rather than writing for yourself?
Honestly, I feel like the job of an artist in general is to create art, and whether that be for the sake of catering to a certain audience or to reflect parts of themselves, I think that both are valid. And I think it differs per song, per project. So I think for me personally, of course, I always gravitate towards what is authentic to me because that's just kind of my advocacy in general and the kind of artist that I want to be. But I definitely won't say that I'm opposed to writing something that is for the audience to like or anything like that, because of course at the end of the day you want them to like what you're making, but I think as artists it's also our job to stand our ground and kind of value our artistry in particular, and I think that the right people and the right audience will like what you're making either way.
Love it. One more thing is just do you have anything that you want to say to younger artists out there who are trying to write and when they write they just feel it's never good enough?
Yes, absolutely. So when I started writing songs when I was like 13 or about to turn 14, I thought it was amazing. I myself thought it was amazing, but I would listen to it maybe a month later and I'd be like, this sucks. Like, this is the worst. And it's really just, you have to understand that when you enter something or when you are interested in learning something, you can't expect yourself to be perfect immediately, and you can't expect like quick results all the time. It takes a lot of experience, and it takes a lot of learning and making a lot of mistakes to learn what works and what doesn't. And sometimes, again, like as your artistry changes, sometimes what you make back then won't really resonate with you anymore in the future. But that's, again, the beauty of it. It's really just something that it's like, it just encapsulates who you were at that point in time. And I think it's important for people to know that it's okay to not like it anymore, like in the future when you're better at it. And that you should absolutely go for it, even though you are feeling kind of insecure or you feel like you're not really that good yet. I think that it's a whole learning process. And
for sure.
There's this thing that I've been seeing recently online about like Chapel Roan, who's this huge artist, and how she really shows that it takes 10 years to be an overnight success.
Yes.
I love that concept,
I've seen
and I totally agree.
Yeah, it takes time.
It really, because online, of course, and in general on the media, it seems as if these people just became successful overnight and so quickly. And it's true, like their life does turn around very quickly, but it doesn't mean that they didn't have like those 10 years of working so hard to get to where they are now.
I agree. Yeah. Another thing that I've been seeing to tie into that is never aim for perfect. You know, just put it out there. What might not be right for this one person might be what someone else is looking for, you know?
Exactly.
So, I love that. That's cool. Yeah, and the Chapel Roan stuff that you're talking about, the 10-year thing, I think I just saw that maybe like an hour ago. I was just scrolling on TikTok while I was waiting for this thing to happen. I don't know. It's been feeding me a lot of weird things. Yeah, TikTok.
That's TikTok for you.
That is TikTok. But I'm glad that I was scrolling through TikTok and I found you. You know, I love seeing new artists, even though you've been doing this for a long time. See? It's proof.
Right.
It's proof. It takes hard work. And
I'm very
takes
grateful.
some time.
Yes, I'm very, very grateful that I'm finally starting to get a little bit more exposure and I'm able to put myself out there.
Yeah.
And I really do believe that I'm going to keep going at this for as long as it takes, because it's something that I really love and I am so passionate about.
That's good. That's good. And that's what it takes, you know. It just, the passion will always be there to supersede the loss of motivation, you know.
Yes.
So if you have the passion for it, why not, right? Everyone burns out, but if you're passionate about it, then you'll wake up the next day wanting to do it again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was a lot. That was pretty deep.
It's a great concept, though.
Yes, it is. It is. Again, like I was saying, I found you on TikTok, and me personally, I love when I see younger artists or newer artists just coming out of nowhere and I guess making waves. And it's just a plus if you happen to be Filipino, because right? Oh, Filipino! Yes, Philippines! Right? But it's not what it has. It's not about that. But it's just it's nice seeing young artists follow their dreams and knowing that they have dreams and that it's not the end of the world, that they're trying to pursue what they love. And thank you.
Right. And I think it's very thank you. Yeah, I think it's really great that more people are kind of leaning into pursuing artistry, because I mean, growing up in an Asian country in general, I think it's very common for people to take the more traditional STEM path.
Yay,
yes,
arts,
of
boo.
course. Like, I grew up not really having a lot of knowledge about the art form in general, because I couldn't really find a place to even learn about it. And I have been told before that I shouldn't pursue music, especially for school, that I should probably study something else and do music on the side, which I see why that would be great.
That's all of us. It's okay.
Like, I absolutely see why that would be great, but at the end of the day, I think like people should go for what they want to go for.
They should. You'll be happy you did. You
Definitely.
know? Oh man, thank you so much. I would love to chop it up even more, but I don't want to take all of your time now.
No worries, no worries.
Again, Unpaid Debt, it's out already on Spotify and other listening platforms. And of course, you can also request it here on Megamixx 101.9. We'll play it for you. Go ahead and request it. And let's hear that little diddly dooley dap.
What is it about you that makes it so hard to forget? The way our eyes meet, mine are stares, love to intertwine, but it feels like an unpaid debt.
Wow. That was good.
Thank you.
What the heck? You know what your voice kind of reminds me of? Your voice reminds me of... has a little feel of Carpenters. I think because you have a richer low.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yes. Alto.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you're one of those one-liners?
Yeah. There are definitely days that I'm like, oh, I wish my range was so much higher and I was a soprano. But I've learned to really love the tone of my voice and kind of where
it's very rich.
lands.
It's very rich. Yes.
Thank you.
It's nice. I bet you wake up in the morning and you could just sing. Right?
Definitely not.
What?
I mean, kind of, but not at its prime.
you have your low ends covered.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I meant. It's like me when I wake up in the morning. I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah. So before we go, everyone, that's Rafi for you. And again, you can stream your music. You can request for it on Megamixx. And anything you want to say to our Guam community before I let you go?
Mm-hmm. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much again for having me. This was so fun, and I'm really grateful that I had this opportunity to talk about my artistry and my music. The one thing I want to tell everybody, and I love to say this to everybody that watches my content, please continue to spread love and be kind. But also remember that you can be an understanding person, an empathetic person, and you can continue to always be kind while also loving yourself. You should always make sure to be kind to yourself as well and to love yourself and develop your sense of self in general.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. So that's another episode of the Soundstage here on Megamixx 101.9. It's your boy Rob on the radio. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. All right.